Welcome to the Forum, your way to keep up with state and community leaders, experts, and local business leaders. This is your chance to hear from and talk to people that affect your life right here in Rim Country. You can express your opinions by calling 474-2427. And remember, the comments and opinions of guests and callers are not necessarily the opinions of KMOG. Welcome to Rim Country Forum. Well, good morning. Mike Farrell sitting in once again for Charlie Seraphin on vacation. And our forum is brought to you every morning by Owens Law Firm, Sunshine Cleaning and Restoration, Realty Executives Arizona Territory, Pinnacle Propane and Alliant Gas, Banner Health, Payson Medical Center, Dana Law Group. Good morning and welcome to the forum. We have fire experts and law enforcement experts here today. We've got a lot of people to answer any questions that you have on the fire and what is going on. First of all, let me introduce our information officer, and that is Mike Reichling. Good morning, Mike. Thank you for being here again. And what do we got lined up for today? You got to first of all tell us the update on the fire, the backbone?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We're going to start with that, and then we'll talk a little bit about how the rain affected our fire yesterday. Well, we're up to 40,591 acres. Grew a couple acres within the last 24 hours since the last update. We have 1% containment. That's down on the southwest corner by the Verde River. We have 740 personnel, so we've gained quite a number of crews. And I remind everybody that we are in the leadoff from yesterday's information from the state was we have 17 major fires. We got 250,000 acres plus that are on fire right now throughout the state. And there's other fires that have erupted that are named, but still have the information on those resources being shared. So the sharing of resources is across the line with all these other fires throughout the state. We did have a community meeting last night. It was virtual. I hope some of our folks here in the Payson area was able to get on that. A lot of good information was put out. We do have an update on the displaced residents. It's going to be another week. And that's what the incident commander and the incident management team is projecting due to the rain. So the rain was good and bad. The rain was good in a sense it did put some of the fire, slowed the fire down, but it was bad because now it's put us back a couple days on our burning operations. So the good burning that we're doing got rain as well as the fire that we're trying to put out. Mm-hmm. So with that said, we're looking at having another few days added to that, and that's why the 7 days was projected out for people to return back into their homes.
Well, that was pretty much what was predicted, though, I think, from the start, wasn't it?
It was. And we were trying to shorten that and make less time. But we did do a meeting yesterday with the shelterees over the evacuees in the shelter in Payson. Brought in the sheriff and ourselves and the town and gave them an update on what was going on and answered a lot of questions. And it's all about getting good, clean information out. So if people can get on their NC web, that's always updated. And also the call-in line at 928-362-4088. So that's the best way. We have our Facebook page up, and that's Backbone Fire Information. And that's all shared here at KMOG, I believe. So that's our update for this morning. The crews are still out doing all of the prep work and the structure protection work. The dozer lines, all of those crews are out doing those burning operations. So we'll keep you updated.
All right. Good enough. So we're at 40,000 plus acres right now. All right. Just to go back, the largest wildfire here in Arizona was how many acres?
571, I believe.
571,000 acres or whatever. Okay, so that isn't all that huge yet. And one of the things about most of the area that is being burned there, of course, is not even habitable.
Right.
So from that standpoint, it's probably good.
Just to remind everybody, if you've ever been down in Fossil Creek, which the lieutenant here has many times, it's a treacherous area. and it's tough to get to. So that's why the fire gained so much momentum, because we couldn't get crews in. But we did bring tankers. We got the aircraft. We still have a number of helicopters dropping water. So that it's a challenge getting into that fire.
Wow. Yeah, that is a pretty rugged area. You know, when I first came to Arizona back in the early 70s, late 60s, early 70s, we got an idea. Let's take our horses and let's go up and have somebody drop us off up under the rim, and then let's ride back to Phoenix. So we started out, and somewhere or other we got down on the Verde River, and by the time we got just fairly close to Childs, we had lost most of the shoes on the horses. We had pretty much run out of water. We were drinking muddy water out of the river. We weren't really as prepared as we should be. And when we got to Childs, the power plant was there, but not much. And there's 2 or 3 people had houses down there in those days. And we called somebody to come and get us out of there. And we thought, whoa, that could have ended up a whole lot worse, you know? It was just, there were no trails.
Well, if you would have had the Ready, Set, Go program for your horse ride like we have for our wildfire preparation, then probably been better off.
Right. But that was my first introduction to that area. That is beautiful down there, and that's why everybody wants to go there now. And that has been a real problem for law enforcement and everybody else also. So that area itself, right down there, is that being burned yet?
Yeah, down by the Childs plant.
Yeah.
Yes, the fire is still on the east side. So where Childs is, if you're familiar with that, along the river all the way up to Camp Verde, it's staying on the east side. But I just talked to Chief Staub this morning, and he said those cottonwoods are just exploding. They're so dry down in that area.
Wow.
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, they are drier than kiln-dried wood, as you were mentioning yesterday, quite a bit more. Well, you have brought along with you a couple of guests here.
Yes.
We have Sergeant Newman from...
Lieutenant.
I did it again. Lieutenant, I hate to demote you, but, you know, Lieutenant Newman, and we have from the Pine Strawberry Fire District there, the director, John Wisner, right?
Wisner.
Good morning, John. Wisner.
Good morning.
Yeah, I get it. So your situation up there is what? You're going back in from time to time, I'm sure, to the fire department up there?
Oh, absolutely.
Is that being used for any kind of headquarters, or what's going on?
Yeah, what we're doing right now is, well, let me back up a little bit. We learned a week ago today on Thursday morning that there was a fire east of Strawberry, and by that evening when we had our board meeting, I informed the fire board that where the fire was, that it had grown from the first report I got at 300 acres to 1,200 acres, and I informed them that a Type 1 team had been ordered, and it was going to be a full suppression fire, meaning that essentially every time or any time they could attack that fire, they would do that and put the resources on it. Unfortunately, because of the rough area it was very difficult to get that task done. So what we did in the meantime as the fire department, because it takes a while to ramp up the resources, we called back all of our people and made our own plan to protect our community as those resources were starting to come in. And we have been all hands on deck until yesterday after the rain was the first time we relaxed that posture a little bit, went back to our normal crew so we could get some people out of there and get them some sleep and get them some more rest, with the anticipation of what Mike Reichling has said, that when it dries out a little, the team will continue their plan to do those burnouts and build those fire lines around our community. And we want to upstaff when that happens, again with all of our firefighters, just to be there in the event that anything doesn't go as planned. And that has cost us a lot of logistical concerns. We've been working with everything from food to water to housing personnel. Another thing that's going on right now at the department is we've teamed with the sheriff department and the posse search and rescue, and along with we provided the facilities and phone lines and some use of some of our firefighters to start helping people who have been displaced by the fire and do some of the things that are concerning them around their properties. They have requests. Maybe they left in a hurry and didn't get a few things done. We've been trying to button up those loose ends for them so they can have some peace of mind. Today, we anticipate there'll be more of that, and we're still at normal staffing today. And then we'll see what tomorrow brings. We may bring back additional firefighters tomorrow if the fire starts to become more active or it dries out enough that we need to do that. So that's kind of where we're at.
One of the things I've been told here is a multi-agency task force is teamed up to provide security checks of the homes in Pine and Strawberry while the evacuation remains in effect. And I think, Lieutenant, you're going to talk about that a little bit this morning, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll get right to that. We have someone I forgot was on the phone here. Has been holding a long time. Let's see if they're still there. Hello, caller. You're on the forum. Hello? No, I guess they're not. Okay. Well, our phone is 474-2427. It is open now.
The Dana Law Group will educate and guide you through the entire estate planning process. Wills, trusts, power of attorney, and probate representation. You know estate planning is important. Don't put it off.
Okay, let's take this caller. Go ahead, caller. You're on the forum.
I just wanted to mention we've kind of created a hazardous situation, and I live off of Houston Mesa Road, and you get down to the Home Depot, and the tent is set up there to stop the people, and they have a temporary stop sign there, and that's working. And then on the opposite side of the intersection, they tend to park some trucks along with a cruiser that has its lights on, and you cannot see to the right. And the people coming from Pine do not have to stop, and that therein lies the problem. If we put a temporary stop sign up on the other side, slowed them down and stopped them, we would create a four-way stop. That way, people that are coming from Houston Mesa Road, because it's an uncontrolled intersection at the present time, well, it's controlled on three sides, uncontrolled from our right, from the north. There was an officer standing there. He wasn't directing traffic yesterday. There's no officer there now. That's the problem. If we put a stop sign on that coming from Pine going towards Home Depot, right at the Home Depot intersection, we would create a controlled intersection, and then everybody would stop. But that traffic coming from Pine is traveling at 45 miles an hour. Cruisers in the middle of the intersection. Trucks in the middle of the intersection. You cannot see to your right. Yesterday, an elderly lady almost got hit, and I mean they crossed paths like the Blue Angels. So that's my input. I would really like to see something done if it would be possible, because it is really a hazard.
Okay. Well, we're going to let the reply here from Lieutenant Newman.
Yeah, I know what it is that you're talking about. I've seen the issue. When I've been through there, traffic has been light enough, and people coming southbound, common sense would dictate that you would slow down. But when we get a break here, I'll make a call to ADOT and talk to the supervisor and let him know what your concern is, because apparently you've seen some instances that we truly need to be concerned about, and I'll bring him up to speed on that and see what we can do for you.
Yeah, if we could get a stop sign there coming in, because there's just so little traffic coming from Pine, but they don't slow down.
Yeah,
and then with the trucks there and the cruisers there, you can't see to the right, especially if you're in a car. If you're in a truck or an SUV, you have an advantage. If you're in a Corvette, you don't have an advantage.
Okay. Yeah, that either needs to be a four-way stop, or we need to get somebody out there to direct that traffic. So it's an easy fix. Thank you for bringing that to our attention, and we should be able to take care of that shortly.
Yeah, a four-way stop would be great, officer. Thank you very much.
Okay. So, see how fast things can get done here? All you need to know is let us know what's going on. I have noticed that situation too, and I just thought, well, there's not that much traffic coming down from Pine, because, but I guess there, eventually people coming from Flowing Springs, East Verde Estates, and all those areas too, right? Trying to get into town. Okay. So we're on that one. So the rain actually didn't really help that much on the fire, right? Is that the situation? We just didn't get enough to really slow it down?
Well, what our fire behavioral specialist outlined in the update today is it slowed, it kind of calmed the fire down, but at the same time, it rained on the area we wanted to burn towards the main fire. So
the reduction in heat, is that helping at all?
Well, those 1,000-hour fuels that we have are still, it just covered the top. And now once you get sunlight on where it rained, it dries right off, and we're back to the races as far as the fire behavior. So
okay.
That's the challenge.
Okay, and we're at 40,000 plus acres now
yes,
on
sir.
the Backbone Fire. It's been, 4 days, 5 days? This actually started
last
Thursday,
Friday,
didn't it? Or was
Friday
it
morning at
Okay.
06:30 or so.
I've got to say, Chief, you guys really got the evacuation. I was very surprised as fast as that happened. But 4 o'clock or whatever on Friday, barely the time that we had heard about the fire, already you were evacuating. I guess you guys decided right from the get-go that people need to get out of there, right?
Well, the evacuation did go very smoothly, and I'm very pleased at those who evacuated and how patient they were as they evacuated. I have said in other forums that we only had 2 injuries that I'm aware of that were evacuation related, and one had to do with a person who was trying to load a horse who stumbled backwards and hurt a wrist, and another was a vehicle that went off the roadway at low speed and struck a tree, probably just because of the confusion and distraction of everything going on. So I'm very pleased with the way that went down. But I also want to talk about how the evacuation came about, and then what may have helped with our evacuation. The fire team that was working on the fire at the time, to my understanding, was the Type 3 team, the initial Central West Zone team that was brought in to deal with the fire as it was first noticed, and they realized it was in a complex area and it was going to grow. That team, along with firefighters from the Coconino National Forest, because it was primarily, at that time it was on the Coconino, and then it got over onto the Tonto later in that day on Friday. And so the Tonto National Forest firefighters, Coconino National Forest firefighters, and their fire management officers were all working together along with the team to see what the fire was doing. So when it made that big run, they had eyes on it constantly, and they finally realized that if it were to do similar runs like that or continue in the direction it was going, then we had to get people out. And since there were so many people to get out, we had to pull that trigger earlier. They were in constant communication with me, and I was in constant communication with Lieutenant Tim Scott of the Sheriff Department, and they coordinated with us and told us when the time was to get set, when the time was to go. And there was a lot of discussion in that, but finally the word came down from the team, it's going to be a go for Pine and Strawberry. Now, that triggered a lot of law enforcement efforts that maybe Lieutenant Newman could talk about more, but one of the things that I recognized months ago when I came to the Pine Strawberry Fire District, much like where I came from at Hell's Gate, is when it came to evacuations, we didn't have the kind of maps that I felt would be as useful for law enforcement when they came in to evacuate our community. So I worked with a company called RIM GIS, and we created evacuation zone maps and broke all of Pine and Strawberry into organized areas with very detailed maps to evacuate. And we were able to just hand those right off to law enforcement. We have them electronically. They could use QR codes and drop them onto their phones. And so when those law enforcement officers came in, they literally, each one had a up-to-date map to go door to door on when they set up their command post in Strawberry. And I have to hope and believe that those maps helped those officers figure out where they were in the community and get those people evacuated fast and clear those homes. And the last thing I'll say, I'm just really proud of the community and how organized it was. I saw a lot of patience. Saw a lot of people that were letting other people cut into the line from the other streets and stuff, and that was something good to see.
Excellent. All right. We have a caller. Go ahead, caller. You're on the forum.
Yes. I'm one of the people that are hunkered down in Strawberry. Decided to stay to try to save the house if there was any issues. But we're getting a little bit tight on groceries and things. And with the closure of the forest, I was wondering, being that they're going to have a limited travel, that would probably go with the same limited travel for the people that are still up here, that are able to go into town, a patient, get groceries and stuff to be able to get back to their homes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the tough question to answer, because when we went through and had everybody evacuate, the form that you filled out if you decided to stay was that it wasn't mandatory. We weren't going to force you out of your home. That all we requested was that you stay on your property and out from under a foot. Now that was probably based on an assumption that if you decided to stay, that you knew that you had enough supplies on hand to get through there, because never once did we talk about allowing people to get out and move around to resupply and stay when we've got people in evacuation centers that are not allowed to go back home. So that's a tough question to answer.
Well, let me interrupt you there for a minute, because I didn't sign any sheet. I stayed at home to take care of the house and the wife and everything else that's here. And we've been here about over a week now, and I don't think that I'm asking anything that's out of the ordinary. Being able to go to town and get the things that we need. It's not like we're driving back and forth or worrying about going to get things out of the house to take away. We're staying here at the house, and we should be able to go where we need to go when we need to. It's not like I'm 5 or 10 years old. I'm 60-some years old now.
Okay, well, if this goes on another week, at some point we're going to have a meeting of department heads and talk about how we're going to handle, because from the day that this started, every day seems to be a little bit different. So I can't give you any hard, fast rules right now. You're just going to have to wait and see, and we'll put information out as we can.
I understand about the equipment and the fire crews going through. So if there was a schedule, like in the mornings or in the evenings, there wouldn't be any issue with anybody being on the road. But with regard to people needing to go and get supplies so they can come back to their homes that they're taken care of, I don't think that they should be restricted. I understand about not wanting looky-loos in here and whatnot, but being that we've already been in here over a week or so, and it's going to be sooner than a week before somebody's going to be going to town here, probably within the next day or two, and I wouldn't see that anybody should be restricting anybody's travel, being that we're not doing anything illegal.
Okay, well, keep checking the websites and listening to KMOG, and if we can put out any change to that, we certainly will.
Well, I'll be moving on my own.
I'm sorry, you're moving on your own? What do you mean?
When I need to go to town, that's when I'm going to go to town. And that's like, I'm not looking for an argument from anybody, but I'm not looking to be restricted on where I go. And I'm just going to get what I need, come back for the wife and the animals I got here. And I've stayed hunkered down this whole time while fire's been running, so wouldn't expect that there'd be any problem.
Okay, you've stated your position. Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too.
Okay, take another quick break here, and we'll be right back. Okay, I was handed this news release earlier today, and I'm just not sure it's still into effect. So, Lieutenant and Chief, maybe you guys can tell me. It says, from 8 to 5 p.m., members of the Tonto Rim Search and Rescue, Gila County Sheriff's Office, and the Payson Posse will man phones at the Pine Strawberry Fire Department to send out personnel to homes based on a first-come, first-served basis.
Absolutely. Yeah, as our last callers, we were talking, and I explained to them that from day one, every day is a new day, that we have new challenges and we have to address those. When we started out, we had a lot of law enforcement personnel, Coconino County Sheriff's Office, Payson PD, Game and Fish, Arizona Department of Public Safety. We had quite a few law enforcement resources up there, so we were able to do start going out and doing the roving patrols in the neighborhoods as we went along. Okay. But when all of the other fires cropped up in Coconino County, Navajo County, and other places, we slowly lost those resources because they had to go back to their jurisdictions and start taking care of their people and doing what we're doing here. So again, we were confronted with another situation, being short-staffed. How are we going to address that? So let me see, this is Thursday. Tuesday, we started increasing, not doing so much road blockage as we were sending what few law enforcement guys we had out, and actually getting out and doing security checks on homes. We found one residence that had a broken water pipe. We were able to get the water turned off, and somehow we contacted the homeowner and let them know what was going on. So we realized that was starting to work. So we needed to beef that up. Mm-hmm. And through a conversation with Mike Reichling and the chief, we decided that we need to get some of our volunteers that are up here, and some of them that are actually sheltering in place here, and some that had to evacuate and go to town to come back. And so we set that up where we had those guys bring their side-by-sides and basically broke up Pine and Strawberry into some geographical areas and assigned those volunteers to go check on these residences, walk around, so that way we could report back to these people that were starting to call in and say, can you check my house? I'd appreciate it. We even got requests to water flowers. Of course, that would be a low priority. That we had some requests to feed animals, check on some animals, and so we started setting this up. So yesterday, it was probably around 10 or 11 in the morning, we got this thing rolling. So we've got the chief provided space for us up in Station 41, which is the station off of Hardscrabble, room to operate and a telephone number to man. So from 8 o'clock in the morning until 5 o'clock in the afternoon, 476-4272. That's the number for the Pine Strawberry Fire Department. We have somebody manning that, a volunteer, and he's taking down information. If you have something that we could help you with, we'll take your information. We'll call you back when and if we can address that problem, in conjunction with doing all the security checks. So we were looking for high visibility. We were looking for security checks on homes, addressing some of the needs that we could actually handle, that people needed. And again, we had some requests for watering flowers. I believe one of the fire captains up there told me that he's already fed a turtle because the fire department is involved in this too. If those guys don't have rescues or anything going on, they're jumping in there doing exactly the same thing.
Oh, that's
so
great.
So we've got local volunteers, local firefighters taking care of our local people.
So if somebody is one of the evacuees that's listening right now, they can get a hold of you at 476-4272.
That's correct.
That's the number to call if you have something you want to have checked on your house or question or anything along those lines, right? That's fantastic. That number again, 476-4272. Keep that handy.
And we plan on running that through Friday. We'll see what tomorrow brings. We may extend it on into the weekend.
Okay. So, for example, the guy who called who was up there in Strawberry, if they absolutely have to have food just to get by or whatever, they will, at least somebody will be checking on them.
Certainly, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not going to make any guarantees or any promises, but we're going to have to look at that. If this goes on for another 7 days, I get it. These people are the ones that, we're local, they're local. We're going to be standing in the same grocery line at some point down the road, and I want to be able to look at them and say, we did the best we could for you with what we had to work with, and we appreciate your cooperation.
Okay, is the market open, the Ponderosa Market in Pine?
It is, yeah. But it's really and truly, if you talk to Cindy Mack up there, they're not open for the community. They're open to support the firefighters to be able to come in and get some food and get themselves stocked up. The same with Uncle Tom's gas station. Those guys need fuel, and so you'll see a lot of fire trucks up there getting fuel.
Well, I'm just thinking for someone who did need food, they wouldn't have to come all the way to Payson.
Right. But then again, whenever we start having people out there wandering around on their own and they are not placarded or something on there showing to everybody that they're either associated with search and rescue, law enforcement, or fire, that then we start getting those calls about people that are going, well, so-and-so's doing this. Mm-hmm. And then that takes away, that's another phone call that we have to make and address that. So
understand.
The smaller amount of traffic that we have, that's what we're after, and trying to make it work where people can get the supplies that they need.
All right.
What a juggling act.
I can imagine. All right. Let's take this phone call. Go ahead. Call. Oop, they couldn't hold that long. Sorry. 474-2427. Here's the caller. Go ahead, caller. You're on.
Hi. Sorry, I'm pressing my radio. Okay.
You didn't expect to get on that fast, right?
No, I didn't. I just had a question. I'm in Payson, and I just found out that the Blattner pit is going to be closed, and we were trying to firewise our property, and now I have all this brush accumulated, and we were actually going to do more work today, and I put a quick halt because now I'm worried I've got all this brush, and I'm in a worse situation.
Well, the Blattner pit is open today.
Right, only till noon.
Correct.
And then, so I'm scrambling around trying to find someone to help, just dispose of what I have, but I don't know if I can get it done today. But, do you know, is there a place to go tomorrow or next week, or what do we do to try to firewise and clean up from this point forward?
Well, actually, because of the town of Forest closing, that is what is restricting the brush pit at this point. Once the forest is closed, they can't stay open.
Okay.
I will, let me give you the phone number of the brush pit there, the Blattner pit, and possibly if you can't make arrangements by noon, maybe they can help out somewhere or other, just so you have the number, okay?
Okay.
Are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay, that's Frank, and his number is 978-8765.
Okay, 978-8765.
You got it. Okay. He's very helpful, and if he can't help you, he might be able to suggest what you could do in the meantime.
Okay. And has the town, have they ever given thought to opening up the event center during the winter months, more for people to be able to take their brush and stuff there instead of up to Pine or the Blattner pit, so that it would be closer and easier for us rather than having to go through the traffic, during the summer months with people coming up, hauling all the rakes and everything.
That's true, but
it's just a thought.
I think the one of the problems right now is that it's being used as the evacuation center for a lot of people. So they certainly couldn't be doing anything like that there now, but they have done that earlier this year. They did have you be able to drop off the brush there at the event center, and I think it was so well received. People were so grateful that I certainly think they'll do it again as soon as they can.
Yes, I think that.
Especially with the closing of the forest.
Right. That'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right.
And as far as the firefighters and everybody involved, you guys are doing a great job. Thank you so much.
Okay. We understand. Okay, people do appreciate what all you guys are doing, believe me, and so do we. You're keeping them informed, and that's important. If you didn't give us the information, we couldn't get it out there, and you've been really great at that. Hello, caller, you're on the forum.
Hi. I was just wondering, I elected to stay here, in Pine, and the fellow that lives in Strawberry, he's got to be probably 10 minutes away from the market right here, the Pioneer Market in Pine. Mm-hmm. So I don't understand why do you have to go down to Payson. The store is open. They changed their hours, and if you just go and be about your business, give all the courtesy and the right of way to the trucks, and go right home. I don't think there's a big crazy thing about that.
Okay, but the law enforcement really doesn't want people doing that. They can't make a blanket rule saying that, if you got to get to the market, you can get to the market.
Yeah, if we were to allow people to do that, we might as well lift the evacuation, and we can't do that. We know that we can't do that. Again, it wasn't a forced evacuation, but we kind of hoped that everybody understood that when you evacuate, you definitely have no idea when you would be lifting that evacuation, and if you do want to stay, that you have the supplies to stay in place.
I see, but it was very short. I mean, you might have a week or two.
I get that, and I appreciate what it is that you're saying. We've, for the last 3 years that I know of, we've been beating the band about Ready, Set, Go and Shelter in Place and Sign Up for Everbridge and a lot of these other things. It's your classic case of it wasn't raining when Noah built the ark. So here we are right in the middle of an evacuation, and everybody is now firewising, deciding that they didn't have enough groceries to shelter in place. So they're having to do all of these things right in the middle of a fire. So we're doing the best that we can, and if things change, we'll certainly work with you. And that's pretty much about all that I can tell you right now and today. Just stay tuned, keep checking information, and if we can make things work out, we will.
I understand it, and I sincerely, I really, really appreciate what you guys are doing. Everybody, from the railroad radio station to the law enforcement to all of the firefighters and everything. However, I'm thinking that, that's really, if you don't know, do you need to keep 2 weeks of groceries? Or a month? Does the county or any officials have a plan in place to say, hey, well, they don't have food. If they can't go to the store and go right back home, it's not like there's 1,000 people out here. Literally, we're probably just 100 or so.
Well, if the county were to come up with a plan and say, we recommend that you keep 7 days worth of food, now we're finding out that the fire may possibly go into another 7 days, we would be wrong. How could we predict that? There are some places that say, you actually should keep a year's worth of food. It all depends on your situation and what you can afford to put aside. I think personally I'm in good shape. My wife cans. We set a lot of stuff in buckets. We have things that we're ready to go. Fortunately, I'm not in the evacuation. I empathize with everybody that is. But how can we say do this and then something else comes along and we're wrong? How do we answer that question? So
I don't know, but I believe if they need groceries and stuff, we could get the food banks or something to get food and help these people that they're out of groceries or running out of groceries.
I'd like to just weigh in on this subject just a little bit. I spend some of my own time in my life looking at what FEMA recommends for emergency supplies, and I personally have enough supplies on hand to deal with this sort of thing in my own personal life for more than a few weeks. But I know that it's not everybody is capable of doing that. But I just want to say to your first question about how much is the minimum amount that is being recommended by FEMA is 72 hours worth of food, emergency supplies, and medicine. And the reason they give that such a short period of time is that that would be the minimum amount of time to get help to you. Beyond that, for sustained time of needing supplies, I believe they say a minimum of 2 weeks, and that's the event that they tell you to shelter in place. The assumption is with an evacuation order is that those things go away and go out the window because you will evacuate, and there's no need to get food to you in 72 hours, and there's no need for you to carry 2 weeks of supplies with you because you're evacuating to a shelter. So I don't want there to be confusion that somehow we need to figure out a way to get supplies into an area that is supposed to be evacuated. The other thing that I haven't heard mentioned here much that I would like all the public to keep in mind now and when this event is over is there's many more opportunities for fires to run at Pine and run at Strawberry from other directions after this event is over. And I don't want people to think that because some people stayed behind, things were better off for them, their life was more normal, so next time maybe I won't go. You need to understand that when we bring in all of those firefighting crews and they need to get out of the area fast because we have to evacuate them too sometimes when the fire turns. And if now they're caught in a traffic jam, we start to have very real possibilities of having events like what happened in Paradise, California, and during the campfire. The idea is that you get the general population out of the way because you can put firefighters in there, and then when those firefighters are told get out, they're not in a traffic jam waiting for multiple vehicles to enter the highway from different areas, because now those who stayed behind want to get out too. So I want all the people out there that live in Pine and Strawberry to understand that it's not easy to make this decision to tell people to leave their homes, and we certainly want people to get back in as soon as possible. But when you stay behind and you take on that responsibility, and this is a free country, and I think all of us love the liberty that we have, understand it doesn't happen in a vacuum. You're actually creating a situation that could cost others, and including firefighters, their lives if we have to get out fast.
I appreciate that very much. I understand that. There's nobody using these roads but our firefighters, basically. There's trucks just going nonstop wherever they have to be. I'm sure they've got a task, but I was just wondering that they haven't really put any effort or energy into a thing, like where they could at least, if, like the fellow that's in Strawberry, he sounds like he's just going to do what he wants to do. I don't know if that's good. I don't know if that's bad. I'm not trying to be judgmental, but I was just thinking, well, shoot, you're right there in Strawberry. Go down in the market here. Why would you tie up the road or even get into the traffic with the trucks going down to Payson?
He wants to get a better price. No, I'm just joking. Not true. Okay, well, we understand, that there are definitely two sides to this question, how you feel. And we understand how that the firefighters and the people that are trying to manage this feel. And remember that we do have that phone number there for you if you either are, staying there or you are an evacuee. That's 476-4272. Got an emergency going on, have something you want to have checked at your house, whatever it happens to be. While we're on this subject of food and how much to have, I think that non-perishable food is just something someone should have at least a couple weeks of canned food, things like that. I got to remember back in the 70s, I talked to someone who was on our radio station at the time, said everybody needs to have a year's supply of food. It's like money in the bank, flour, rice, everything is in, cans, it's sealed. You really, if you lose your job, no matter what happens, you're going to be able to eat. And everybody should have that. Now, not everybody can afford to have a year's supply of food, but at least, if you're going to live here in where our fire danger is as high as it is, and you may, be in that situation, I think you ought to look into the possibility of storage food. Some of it's very good, and, it's available. And if you just have to have room to put it. I know I moved 7 or 8 times from the time I've had that and had to lug that around every time I moved. And I ended up giving it to the food bank. But, it's like money in the bank. Food.
Yeah, I often joke, some people have room underneath their bed. For me, it's cans of dried food, much to my wife's frustration sometimes. But someday I'll be right.
Yeah, you got to have your macaroni and cheese. Okay,
absolutely.
Well, speaking of food, we'll be right back. Okay, the Pine Strawberry Fire Chief here, John Wisner, just reminded me I might have said something wrong here. And that is that if you have an emergency.
Yeah, absolutely. We were listening or thinking about what we were saying on that hotline that we've opened up for people to get some help and stuff. And it was mentioned that if you have an emergency to call that line. No, we want you to call 911. The 911 system is still working in Pine and Strawberry in the whole area. So just a point of clarification, if you have anything you consider to be an emergency, just dial 911 and we'll sort it out after that. But the other issues, if they're urgent issues that don't deal with emergencies, we'll be glad to get on those on the hotline. And that's that 476-4272.
Okay. Now that makes sense. It would be terrible to have a heart attack or emergency like that happen in this situation, but like you say, the first number they call has got to be 911.
Yes.
And then we'll work the rest out later, how they're going to get there.
Absolutely.
Okay, makes sense. Mike, you have an update for us?
Yes, we wanted to continue on with our update. There's some significant closures being put out by the Tono National Forest. If you go to their webpage, you should be able to get the areas that are going to be closed and ones that are going to remain open. So we wanted to have everybody make sure that they take a look at the Tano National Forest webpage before they head up here to make sure those areas are still open. The road closures, make sure that you take a look at 511 either on the phone or az511.com. To get road closure information. We're having a lot of people show up at the police station down here trying to get to Winslow and all, and they come all the way up from, they could have went around another way. Also, the power situation, we also have on our update aps.com/outage center, and that's in our update, and that's where you can get all the information about power issues as they are coming up, if they're affected by the fire. The other is the temperatures are going to be exceeding the weather's, the humidity's going to go down to single digits again, and we're still looking at wind gusts and such. So just want to remind everybody, get in those updates on ncweb.gov. We update that multiple times a day, and you can get current information on the fire.
Okay. And thank you so much for being here. We're just about out of time. Go ahead. Anything else? Lieutenant Newman, anything else that you want to add? Okay. Caller, we only have about a minute left. Can you make it really quick?
Yes, I was just thinking that people who stay at home with figuring, well, I'll save my house. The forest fire temperatures are 1,500 to 2,200 degrees. How are they going to save their house with a garden hose? And aren't they going to be cooked by forest fire?
Well, I think you're exactly right. If the fire makes it to your home, your chances of survival are very small. I think most people assume that they're going to be on the periphery and able to fight just small fires around their house, and that might go well for a while. But once the fire front reaches your home, your chances of survival are almost none.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you, ma'am. You brought up a really good point. I want to thank you for joining us on the forum. We're going to continue tomorrow. We have special guests coming your way too, talking about the fire, as we will all week today. And the forum is brought to you by Sunshine Cleaning and Restoration, Owens Law Firm, Realty Executives Arizona Territory, Pinnacle Propane, Banner Health, and Dana Law Group.